Zombie subconscious actions. Sometimes we autopilot in ways that we really don't mean to. And it loops us. It loops us in horrific ways. Let me demonstrate a little bit of something here. Like a lot of people, they ask for things that they really do not know how to communicate asking for. And they do it through their actions. And they're probably not even aware of this. For example, like when somebody, needs space, sometimes they create that space for themselves by blowing up, in an argument. It could be teenagers with parents blowing up. Wow. When what they really didn't have the tools to at their age is communicating, hey man, lay off. I really need space as a person right now and to do my own thing. And that can be in all kinds of relationships, friendships, of course, romantic relationships. Everybody's probably experienced maybe something like this somewhere in their past. The blow up to create space. And it's interesting because, there's a lot that cultivates that to happen. If communication was cultivated, with the environment in the parents' example, then perhaps the blow up to create space on the teenager's example wouldn't happen as much because the teenager would feel more comfortable communicating that need. So there's definitely that aspect and that adding to it. And there's also guilt triggers and all these other things that add to it too as well. For example, in the guilt triggers, you have not wanting it to be that person's fault. You don't want it to be the teenager's fault or the whatever, your fault. So you blow up and it's their fault, and it's like no, this is the issue and it's you and it's this, not my inability to communicate what I essentially want and need in this situation. And it's tricky and it's tough because oftentimes, whether it's parents or relationships and different things, there's a catering to the needs like after the blow up. Even bosses, even in employment situations, and like this a lot, where they get the positive reinforcement for that behavior, the blow up gets rewarded, and thus there's no incentive to change. Essentially, it in a broken way works, but it doesn't really. It reinforces the loop that is that behavior, and it keeps that person away from real connecting, and it keeps that person away from real communication, which is essential for real relationships. They have a commitment to each other, and that commitment to each other is mistaken for like a real relationship. Because it's really just an endurance trial, into breaking points, for both sides, for the side blowing up and needing space, and for the other side catering to and dealing with all the pieces of the aftermath of, this is an unhealthy loop, because, both sides will have feelings of emptiness and unmet needs, even if both sides go looking for that new job, or, the teenager ends up hanging with other friends, the pattern will resurface, and it'll repeat maybe with different players and in a different scene, because the root is the same. Like, ultimately, the person has to become aware of these subconscious things that are driving these actions that they, aren't really intending, and know these deeper needs behind them, and be able to communicate it, even haphazardly, even if the communication of it's not perfect. It's going to be better than the non-communication leading it into the blow-ups. As the other person in the party, the parents or the whatever in the examples, you must create a safe space for the requests to be honored without strain. Because if the requests have strain, then essentially they're not going to make requests. They're going to keep that until it bottles up and blows up, and they create space with the way that they've created space in the past and the pattern that they've learned there. Yeah. So really work on not only that awareness on your end on that, but also with others on creating that fluidity to create that space for other people, so then they can communicate and that they can get to a place where that's okay and safe to really say what they really need without a fight. Because if you fight them too much on it, it's just going to add to the stress. It's going to add to doing what works, whether they're realizing that or not. And yeah. Because ultimately, in the end, the only way you guys are really going to connect is with real communication. Yeah. Tell me what your thoughts are on all of this. And I'm really curious as to the ways that this has surfaced in other ways that are not necessarily blow-ups. These other ways that, that people are doing these things that they don't mean to do, but have learned to do them because they work in that broken ways. And yeah, and some of those underlying things behind them, even if you don't know the underlying things behind them, I think it's good to comment them still, because somebody else may be able to comment and kind of see what that underlying thing is, and kind of see what's going on there, or at least be able to take ideas, But yeah. It's good to break these patterns, and it's hard to break these patterns. It takes work on both ends. I really look forward to growing with you guys. I really look forward to you guys growing with me. Stick around if you guys want more of this type of thing. And if you have somebody that you think would benefit from this, be a good friend to share with them. Thank you.